Hi, it's Jo from Strathmore Realistic Pilates here. Thanks for joining me. I just wanted to spend a few minutes doing a little set of exercises which I find really helps me after I've been doing things like the gardening. So I'm going to call this gardening back exercises today. And lots of us, especially those first couple of times we get out in the garden in the spring, end up with a really sore, achy lower back for a few days. And I just find that doing a few of these exercises helps to ease things, helps to make me feel a little better and not feel it so much the next day. So what I generally start to do is I start standing and I do some hip circles first. This may chop my head off, so let me just adjust the screen slightly first. Okay. So I start by doing some hip circles. I'm standing nice and tall. I'm trying to leave my shoulders kind of in position and use the middle part of my body rather than the whole body. And it's really nice and gentle. We're just trying to sort of loosen everything up. So I did 3 or 4 in one direction, and I'm going to do 3 or 4 in the other direction. And then I'm going to go back and do those again. Good. I'm going to have a little gentle leg swing. Okay, I don't want to be taking this leg back too far because I don't want to aggravate the lower back. So it's nice and gentle. Just trying to loosen the hips off a little bit too. If you have the balance, then you can take the leg side to side as well. Otherwise, hold on to something. Otherwise, you're standing up nice and tall. You're trying to stand up out of the other hip and not sink. I've changed legs. And again, it's nice and gentle just to loosen everything up a little bit before we start exercising. Good. I'm going to go for a little hamstring stretch as well. So from here, I'm going to hinge from the hips and not the waist. I'm going to come down with a reasonably flat back. I've got my feet apart, and I'm just going to reach to where I can go. You don't have to be reaching the floor. You can hold on to the legs if that's a little bit easier for you. I'm going to try and have that stretch for about 20 to 30 seconds. My knees, my legs are straight. My knees are kind of locked. And before I come up, I'm going to take a nice big breath in, breathe out, suck the tummy up, and either rise up nice and gently or walk my hands up the legs to help if the back's a bit sore. Stretching our hamstrings really helps when we've got a sore back, so that the hamstrings are not pulling on the lower back. Okay, good. I'm going to come down to my mat. Hopefully you can see that there. And I'm going to start off lying on my back in what we call supine and having a little knee hug for a back stretch here. Okay, I'm going to have a little rock side to side because that's quite nice on the hips at the back. Okay, so with my knee hug, what I'm trying to do is keep the spine on the floor from the shoulders all the way down to the tailbone here. I'm not lifting the tailbone and I'm not lifting the head. I'm pulling the knees in, still keeping the spine all on the floor so I get a nice long spine stretch. And I release. And I'm going to do that again. Good. And I'm gently going to bring my foot down to the floor and then the other one. And I'm going to start off with some pelvic tilts. So I'm lying with my feet a little bit apart and my knees a little bit apart. And first of all, I'm going to tilt back to the mat and arch away. So imagine I've got a clock face painted on my abdomen. I've got my tummy button in the middle with a marble in it. I have 12, 6, 3, and 9. And I'm going to tilt my imaginary marble in between different numbers. So initially I'm going to tilt from 12 to 6. So I'm tilting the pelvis back, so I'm flattening the back into the mat. And I'm arching away. You can see as I flatten into the mat, my clothes crumple up. And as I arch away slightly, my t-shirt straightens out. If it's too sore for you to arch away from the mat, just go back to neutral, that's fine. And if you feel comfortable to do it, you can start to tilt this marble between 9 and 3. So this time what I'm doing is I'm keeping the knees still. I'm not letting the knees move side to side, otherwise you don't get the isolation from the hips here. And I'm tilting gently. So I'm imprinting on one hip and I'm gently lifting the hip on the other side. Putting that one down, imprinting and lifting. Trying not to move my knees. If I want to go one step further, I can do a whole clock circle. So I would tilt my marble back to 12, rotate round through 3 or 9, down to 6, and up around the other side. And it's supposed to be a circle. Again, my knees are staying where they are. I'm not taking the legs with me. And I do a few of those in one direction, and then I change and go the other way. Sometimes our brain needs a little bit of help with that one. It's tricky to change direction in the middle of a clock circle. Okay, these might feel a bit more like 50p's or a bit more like 20p's, that doesn't really matter. Okay, good. And I'm going to have a little knee swing side to side. This helps to release the back of the pelvis a little bit. Good. Okay, we're going to go for a shoulder bridge prep. So I'm going to remove my head cushion. Take my hands down by my sides, pull my feet closer in towards my body. I've already done some pelvic tilting, but if you hadn't already done that, this would be a good opportunity to do that. And I'm going to start by breathing in, breathing out, lacing my corset or engaging my tummy muscles, tipping back into the mat and slowly rolling and peeling away from the mat. Now I'm not going to go too far on my first one because I don't want to be sore. So I'm replacing each bone back to the floor bone by bone, and I'm tipping back to neutral and I'm starting again. So I'm breathing again. Breathing out. Lacing my corset, tilting back, peeling away from this mat. I've gone a little bit further this time. Tummy's staying tight, glutes are staying tight. And I'm rolling back down and into neutral. Okay, I'm going to breathe again. I'm going to go a little bit further this time. I'm trying to keep my shoulders relaxed. So I've turned my palms to the floor, making sure my shoulder blades are flat. Breathing in, breathing out, tightening my tummy muscles, tilting back, peeling away, engaging my glutes, going all the way up, tucking my chin in slightly. I'm trying to get a nice line from my shoulder blades down to my knees. Making sure my tummy is still tight. I can have a breath at the top if I need to. And I'm keeping my shoulders down. And gradually putting each vertebra down on the floor until again I rock back into neutral. And I've really tried to keep my shoulders relaxed all the way through that. That's not easy. So that's quite a good one for relaxing the back muscles. We're making sure that the tummy muscles are supporting the back all the time, and that the glutes are working hard to push those hips towards the ceiling. We're breathing. Good. And we're gently coming down. We can have another little knee swing if we want to, or another little knee hug. Okay, I'm going to take those knees up. Good, so I'm going to do some knee circles here. I don't want to hurt the back, but just in the interest of getting everything warmed up, I'm just doing some little knee circles. So as I bring my knees in towards me, I'm going to breathe in. And as I take my knees away from me, I'm breathing out and I'm making sure my corset's really laced. I'm not letting my back arch here. I'm keeping in neutral as much as I can and bringing the knees in and not moving the back. Okay, I'm not tilting in to bring the knees. So yes, my knees are coming in, but I'm keeping a little gap under my spine, and then I'm changing direction. So I'm using my tummy muscles. I'm working the hip flexors and the legs a little bit. And I'm just getting the muscles in the lower back and the hips a little bit warmed up. Okay. Now, a really useful aid for when we're a little bit sore is my squishy green ball. These are purposely not blown up right to tight because you want them to be squishy when you lie on them. So what I'm going to do is put that underneath the lower back, the flat bit. Don't know if you can see that with the light, but the flat bit of my sacrum, not up into the arch of my back where I might hurt myself, okay? So it's the flat bit at the back of the back, at the back of the pelvis, sorry. Feels nice and comfortable. And I'm using that as a bit of a massage cushion. You can adjust where you need to be on the green ball, nice and gently, okay? It's in the area that might be really nice to massage at the back of the pelvis. And I'm using that like a little massage cushion. It's just quite nice. It should feel nice. If it's sore at all, then remove that from the back. Good. Now I'm actually going to do a couple of exercises here. They can be done on the floor without the ball. You don't have to have the ball. This just makes it a little bit harder for the core. I'm going to hug the knees in first, and I'm going to, from here, do a single leg stretch. So I'm breathing and tightening that tummy. I'm going to lift my head. I'm going to take one knee out, or one leg out to a stretch, and then I'm changing. Now, it may be a little bit wobbly because I'm on the ball. I'm changing hands on my knees each time. I'm stretching that leg away. My tummy is nice and tight, and I'm breathing on each leg. Good. Again, if you find those a little bit difficult on the ball, then come off. And if it's too hard to take the leg low, then you can bring the leg higher. We're working in the interests of saving our back here, preserving our back, and making ourselves feel a little better, so we don't want to injure ourselves. Okay. Now another one here I'm going to do is a cycle. Again, can be done on the floor. We're not going to overwork things, but it's quite a nice one to do. You may want the hands to the side if you're on the ball. If you're on the floor, you can make this exercise harder for yourself by crossing the hands across the chest or having the fingertips up towards the ceiling. I'll see how I get on with doing this on the ball. So again, I'm trying to be in a reasonably neutral position. So I haven't got the legs right over my face because that will tip my pelvis to the spine. But I'm taking my feet up to the ceiling. Now I can change what I do. If I want to do nice gentle cycles here, I can have small legs up above me. If I want to work harder, I want to take the legs bigger and the feet further towards the floor. But again, in the interest of being careful with our back and just having a little movement session so that we ease the back, it's probably more sensible to just have the legs up to the ceiling, nice tight tummy, keep breathing. I'm trying to keep the shoulders relaxed, not so easy on the ball. Like I say, if you were on the floor, you could take the hands across the chest or the hands up towards the ceiling to make that a little bit harder for yourself. Good. The last thing probably on the ball, I'm just going to bring the feet gently back down to the floor and have another little massage. Nice and gently. Good. Now different ways you can come off the ball. You can either go back up into a shoulder bridge and pull the ball out, or you can tip to one side and remove the ball from behind you. Okay, so I'm going to have a couple of little stretches here. These are really helpful for the back. So first of all, I'm going to do what's called a Z stretch. Probably different names for it too. And I have arms out to either side. And I'm going to take my knees down to one side as I keep my opposite shoulder down. And I'm going to feel that rotational stretch in the lower back and round the oblique tummy muscles. You don't have to be going all the way to the floor, and if you need cushions to support yourself under those knees, that's fine. We don't have to take the head to the other side, but it just causes a bit of a neck stretch. So we're staying there for about 20 to 30 seconds on each time. When I want to change, I'm engaging my tummy muscles slightly, and if I feel I need to, I'm using a little bit of pressure through the heels on the lower back to just help me come over to the other side. You might find that the first time you do these, they're a little bit stiff. So second and third time might be easiest. I normally do them 2 times to each side, but you can carry on. You can do 3 times if you want to. You want to try and relax into the stretch. So that's why I said about the cushions, so that you're not straining and trying to force those knees to the side. Relaxed muscles are much easier to stretch than strained and tense muscles. Good, nice. Just watch you don't rotate too far that you cause an injury somewhere else. If you're feeling a little bit more flexible on the second ones, you could bring that top knee over and use the opposite hand to pull it over. Another way to do it is to slide the underneath leg to straight and come over that way. Okay. Good. So I'm going to do a little hip flexor stretch as well, because of all the bending from gardening, and also just doing our cycling and single leg stretches. So I'm hugging one knee into my body, sliding the other leg to straight. We're causing a stretch in this flat hip area here, on the front of the hip and the thigh. I'm going to turn my toes out to the side and slide the leg out to the side a little bit. Watch out for that twinging uncomfortably. Then I'm going to try and relax into that stretch. I'm hooking that knee in a little bit further if I want. I've also got my shoulders relaxed. I'm not trying to grip and hold that knee. I've got my shoulders placed on the floor. I'm just in a stretch, but I'm nice and relaxed. Good, I'm going to turn those toes back to the center, slide the foot back to the midline, and back up to the body, put the other foot down and change sides. So I'm causing a stretch down this front area of the hip and thigh. We have tight hip flexors or tight hamstrings that can impact on our posture and the way we hold our pelvis. So it's important that we stretch both sides. If you wanted to, you could go from here into a hamstring stretch using a band. I'm not going to do that today because I've already stretched them when I'm standing. But again, that's a really, really good way of helping with backache, is to stretch the hamstrings. Okay. Good. One last little swing of my knees. And I'm going to come over onto my hands and knees for a couple of stretches there. Okay. So my first exercise from here is I'm going to sit back on my heels. I've got my knees apart and my feet just about together. I'm going to sit back on the heels into the rest position, or child stretch, or shell stretch. Again, there's lots of names. You can have the hands out to the front, or have the hands resting underneath the forehead. Or one last option is you could have the hands down here so that you're able to sit right back into the hips. Good. Another really, really nice one for achy backs is to do a calf stretch. So my knees are going to be placed under my hips. My hands are going to be under my shoulders. And initially, I'm going to push up out of my shoulder blades, tucking the tail and the head bone under. Sorry, tailbone and head under. Nice and gently so that that doesn't hurt the back. I'm an angry cat here. And then you can dip the tailbone, the tummy muscles, take the tailbone towards the ceiling. Head comes up a little bit, but we're not taking the neck right back. Some people call this position the cow part of the cat stretch, the cat and the cow. Personally, I just call it a cat stretch. You tuck under and out of those shoulder blades again. Then I'm going to dip the tummy to the floor, take the tailbone up towards the ceiling. I get a little stretch on my tummy muscles here as well. Be careful that you don't arch too much in the cat stretch if your back's sore. Of course, if your knees are sore, you could put cushions under the knees. And if you don't like being on the wrists, you could do these exercises on the knuckles instead. Okay, have a little swing of the hips there as well. Good. So I'm going to go down to the floor. I'm going to lie in what's called prone and do a couple of exercises from there, just to make sure that we're working our tummy muscles and that we give the back a chance to just rest here. I'm just going to rest with my head on my hands. I could have a head cushion. And I'm just breathing in and breathing out. And each time I'm breathing out, I'm going to practice lifting my tummy button into my spine. So I breathe in to relax. And I breathe out to lift the tummy button into here. From there, I'm going to do a little back exercise. So I'm going to breathe in, relaxed, and breathe out, lift my hands on my head, really sucking that tummy button up. Breathing in. Trying to keep my glutes relaxed as I lift, which isn't very easy. I could direct my toes into the center and splay my heels out to the side to help. So I'm using the shoulder blades and the lower back to help in that exercise. If that's too hard, you could either just go for the head or just go for the hands. Notice I'm just lifting my head up towards the ceiling. I'm not tilting the head back to look towards the wall in front of me. Just lifting the head and putting it back down. Good. So for one last little stretch here, I'm going to come up to what's called the Sphinx. So I'm sitting with my elbows underneath my shoulders. My lower back is arched a little. I'm just letting that stretch. I'm relaxing into that. It's also causing another hip flexor stretch, which is great. My shoulders are slid down my back, and I can come up and down into that if I want to. Or alternatively, I could extend that after my Sphinx to the Cobra. So starting with my hands and my elbows on the floor and breathing in. And as I breathe out, I'm sucking up. I'm not the best demonstrator at this. My back is not hugely bendy, but my shoulders are going down the back. And I'm coming back down after a few seconds as I breathe in. Good. Now often, again, after I've been doing the Cobra or the Sphinx, I feel like I need to round my back off a little bit. So I will just do the rounding part of the cat stretch one more time. I could do both, just nice and gently. Good. I'm just sit back on the heels. I'm going to round up as I come up to the top. And good. Well done. So a few exercises to help with the gardening back. Another thing you could do is if you have a big stability ball, you can sit on a big stability ball at the start and do some nice big circles with the hips. Nice and gently. It's a really nice way of letting the body move and the hips and the lower back warm up. Good. Thanks for coming. Bye.